Hi guys, Ali Duzette here, and today I wanted to go live about the lobster brain, which is something that we talked about yesterday in yesterday's session on the abdominal support. Okay, the abdominal support session, as we were talking about that and about our core being. In the Q&A, the lobster brain came up. And I call it the lobster brain because of the essay by Jordan Peterson in the first chapter of 12 Rules for Life, which I recommend. But in that chapter, he talks about how the lobster, like the organism, right? It has, it only has like a handful of brain cells, okay? Um, and yeah, invite your friends. Come bring your friends in, tag them on this video. It's gonna blow their mind. Um, but these lobsters, they have like almost no brain cells at all, but guess what they care about? They care about social status. They do. And the lobsters compare themselves to each other and are willing to sacrifice a lot in order to improve their social standing with other lobsters. And one of the points in that book is about how people are the same way. We all are willing to sacrifice quite a lot in order to improve our own social standing. And so I was talking about this in yesterday's lecture, and a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, now my life makes sense. And so I wanted to go ahead and talk about it more here, but I'm going to warn you, it's a little bit of controversial information. It's not going to make you happy. When I discovered this stuff, it blew my mind. I cried about it for 6 months. Okay, so if you cry about it, I'm really sorry about that. But it's better to know than to not know, in my opinion. But don't shoot the messenger, okay? Because I'm telling you this to make your life better. I've never talked about this ever. At all. And so this is the first time I've ever talked about this stuff, even though I spent a whole year just researching it, digging into everything about it. So let's talk about it. Human beings are also motivated by status. And you might think to yourself, oh, but not me. I don't care about status, but you're wrong. And we're going to talk about that. And it's just such like controversial material, in my opinion. But, um, oh no, I'm sorry it's glitching for you. Um, so, so we'll start with this controversial take, okay? And it comes down to ratings and who ranks more than who, okay? You can kind of think of everybody in the world on this scale, the 1 to 10 scale. And I know you've heard of this scale because people use this scale, they openly use this scale. They'll say, oh, like he's a 10 or she's a 10. And when they say that, what they mean is that this person is like a 10 out of 10 of attractiveness, basically. And what it's important to understand is that when it comes to social standing and social status, basically it all comes down to sexual fitness, okay? And this is a biological thing. Like the thing that we have to realize is that we're dealing with biology. When we're dealing with social status, we're dealing with biology, and we live in the world of Netflix and microwaves and processed food. And you can live your entire life without actually interacting with biology in a lot of ways. Like we have toilets that flush away parts of biology that historically we've always had to deal with, and we can go from inside our house to inside our car. I mean, this morning it's been raining like crazy over here, and I got wet, but I really just had to walk outside for 30 seconds to open up my chickens, and 10 seconds to get in my car, and 10 seconds to get back in my house. And that can be the extent of my interaction with the outside world today if I want it to be. And historically, that's not been the case. Historically, people have been a lot more biologically attuned. And we're also dealing, of course, with like things like deodorants that mask our natural pheromones. And basically, we just live in a society that's kind of divorced from biology in a lot of ways. But guess what? Biology wins. Biology always wins. So when it comes to what is considered attractive, it always comes back to this issue of sexual fitness. Why? Because we're biological beings, and one of the primary motivating factors for all human beings is being fit enough to reproduce. I mean this in like the biological way, okay? And so everything in society kind of comes back to that, and it's not openly about that. Like people don't talk about this, but this is like the real underlying factor. Okay, and so um, so we'll go back to that scale of numbers, right? I didn't plan out a presentation on this. I'm just kind of like talking it out at you. ah, and this is the first time I've talked about it, so sorry if it's everywhere. But if you think of everybody on this scale of 1 to 10, right? I would say probably like Heidi Klum is probably a 10, right? Um, all you can think of it like the popular kids at high school, right? Who are the popular kids? The popular kids are people that are beautiful, they have good clothes, and they have access to resources. Most of the time, the popular kids are good looking and have access to resources. Most of the time, uh, people who are not good looking and don't have access to resources are not the popular crowd. Okay, and so maybe your high school was different, but actually, uh, for most cases that's true. In most cases, the most popular people, the most kind of like admired and respected people are going to be the people that are actually, we need to think of it in terms of sexual fitness. Okay, these are people that they have the resources that are necessary to have a really successful experience with reproduction. Okay, and it's because biologically we're driven to reproduce. So what does this mean? This means for women, biologically speaking, they're gonna, eventually, let's say archetypally, this isn't true for every woman for sure, but like archetypally speaking, the female body is created to create children, but a mom can't really take care of her children and build a house. Also, most women are not really equipped to build a house ever. Like a man could build a log cabin by himself, but a girl cannot do that. A woman cannot do that. Even if she's a personal trainer, even if she's got a six pack, a girl cannot build a house by herself. The end. But a regular man could do that. A regular man can build you a log cabin by himself. He just can. Like, maybe not today because we're all kind of like flabby and overweight and everything from the modern lifestyle, but 100 years ago that was the case. Basically, for a woman to have a functional family and to be functional, to have a functional reproductive experience, she needs a man who can protect her and like provide for her, and he needs to be able to build the log cabin by himself. He needs to be able to protect her both physically, like if a wolf comes to attack or something, and also like reputationally and socially, right? And so for women, what makes a guy a 10? What makes a guy a 10 out of 10? Probably a lot of muscles, but that's not the only thing. A lot of money, okay? A lot of skills, and even a good sense of humor. Like basically high social skills and high social skills and high like business skills, like economic skills. Basically these different aspects. Like a guy can be a 10 out of 10 in a lot of different ways. He can be like totally ugly but so rich and no girl is gonna care. Like I mean, like some girls will care, but he's gonna be able to find a 10 out of 10 to match him because he has enough money to do that. Or you could have a really poor guy who has a lot of skill, and a girl can look at that and be like, oh well, that's a lot of skill. And that's when you get like these poor musicians that they have whatever problems they have, but they have a lot of talent and skill, and that's attractive to women, and that makes it a 10 out of 10. And it all comes back to, is this person able to provide in ways that I need to provide in ways that I need them to provide for me? And so for men, there's kind of like a whole variety of ways that they can hit a 10. And obviously, most people are not 10s, okay, right? You can identify a 10 because a 10, I mean, you see that person and you just know, oh, that's a 10. You see that person when you see a man, when you see a woman, you're like, that's a 10. You know what these people look like. You've seen them before. You know in your heart exactly what this is. You can identify it. You already know it. And most people are not 10s. Most people, are obviously average. That puts us all probably between like 4 and 6. That's where we're all pretty much at. I did not mention a book on this topic, although the first chapter of Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life kind of addresses it, but I'm going beyond that, but I recommend that book. And so for most of us, we're like 4s to 6s, right? because that's average. That's just average, okay? And we're all basically average. Um, but nobody wants to be a 4 or a 6, and nobody wants to be a 1, and nobody, I mean, you know, it's hard wherever you're at. Everybody has trouble with where they're at, okay? And I mean, I feel like I look better now. Well, I'll back up. So for a man to be a 10 out of 10, he has kind of a lot of options. He can be totally ugly AF and really skilled at a accomplishment or whatever, and that makes him a 10. Or he can he can be poor and ugly and have a great sense of humor, and that social skill can be a 10, and he can still be a 10 because that is still a protective quality, especially in the modern world. This is what I cried about for 6 months after I learned it. I'm sorry, guys. The truth bomb is coming. For women, there's really only one way to be a 10 out of 10, and it is all based on what you look like. Because when it comes to sexual fitness, for for women, it um, comes down to is your body fit to reproduce? And all of the things that make people sexy is that make women sexy, those are the qualities that indicate fertility and sexual fitness, okay? And so when it comes to I mean, I'll dig into that for just a little minute more. Like having good boobs or good hips, it comes down to, can you have a baby? Like, can that baby come out? Can it have food to eat? Having that like long luscious locks, that beautiful hair. Here's the thing, if you have like mineral problems, you're not going to have beautiful hair, okay? So having beautiful hair is an indicator that you have actually the mineral resources that you need to have a kid, you know? And that's obviously not always true, but like archetypally speaking, it's generally true, you know? It's like typically true. And so, and having having symmetrical features that match each side, that is a sign that you are fit to reproduce and that your kids are going to have good genetics, okay? So here's the thing, no one is thinking like this. Nobody wakes up and they're like, gee, I think I'm really going to be attracted to somebody who, you know, has really symmetrical features today. Like, it is beyond our conscious control. This is a fundamental aspect of biology. And that's why I'm saying, like, this is biology. We can't fight it. You can't fight this and win. And this is why I cried about it, because I thought it's not fair. It's not fair because, you know, I have all these skills and all these accomplishments, but I'm not that pretty, and so I can't be a 10. And so my status is always going to be limited by what I look like just because I'm a girl. That's what ticked me off. Because I felt like it was just really unfair. But the thing is that it's really important to understand it, because we are still all, I don't want to say victims of it, but we're all impacted by it. We are all impacted by this reality that every other human being in the world is constantly rating every other human being based on their fitness level. Their fitness level being, from the outside, does it look like uh, they could reproduce successfully? Okay. Um, this is this is just something that, you know, impacts everything in our lives, okay? And so when we understand this, and we can, first off, everything in your life is going to make a lot more sense when you understand how everybody is kind of like judging each other. And when we understand it's not conscious, it is subconscious. But there's always going to be this stacking, because whoever is a 10 is going to be in charge. Whoever is the highest number in your group, that is the person that's going to make all the choices, and everyone else is going to go along with it, unless you opt out, and I'll talk about that. But I want to explore the what people mostly experience first. So what mostly happens is that in any group of people, the people who rank the highest on the list are the people that make the decisions. And it goes with status, and you know, there are a little bit of exceptions as far as like you know, whoever's the most established in a group might be in charge, or like if it's like a in a business setting, you know, obviously that like changes things. But even in a business setting, the people who rank higher on the list are going to get promoted more. They're going to have an easier time of it. People are going to get along with them better. Because whenever somebody is at a higher rank than you, subconsciously, your brain is like, I better go along with them because going along with that person is going to boost my own rank. Okay? So all of our lobster brains are like stuck in this mode of how am I going to increase my rank? And so a lot of us are sitting there probably and saying like, well, not me. I don't care about that stuff. But if you actually go and look at your life, you may discover that your behavior has indicated otherwise. Um, and to me, this also explains why people want to look nice. Like why is the weight loss industry this like massive industry, right? And it comes back to this lobster brain that just wants to be beautiful. How do you be beautiful? Well, we say it's a cultural thing, but the hard truth is that actually, no, it's basically not. Like, yeah, there is a little bit of a difference culture to culture as far as like if they want people like super skinny or like a little bit skinny, but like let's just use our thinking caps for 5 minutes where we think about all of history, all through time, okay? There was not really a surplus of food. We evolved to be attracted to each other at kind of like a healthy BMI, okay? What we would consider like a healthy BMI. And then when we, surpass that BMI, um, the our brains just haven't evolved to find that sexy. Also, it's not really representative of being like fit. Like it's not like, there are risks that come with being very overweight and having children, and like it's just not an easy lifestyle to do. Like I say that like right now I'm 30 pounds overweight for my little nugget over there. Um, but anyway, the the point is that basically what is considered beautiful is really biological, and this is why we can all pay lip service to the idea that um, you know here's the thing. I do believe all the bodies are beautiful. All bodies are beautiful to me. But I'm not trying to be like, I'm not gonna marry them all. You know what I mean? Like um our bodies are all beautiful and they are all, serving us, but they are not all sexually fit. Okay, they are not all going to be a 10 out of 10 on the attractiveness scale for society. Okay, and this is biological. This is not out of spite. Like, this is not people trying to be mean to each other. It is people trying to, I mean, it's just biology. That's it. And somebody says men get more handsome as they get older. What the heck? That's true. For women, our peak hits typically in the mid 20s. Like 25, that's like as good as it's going to get for most people. Not always true. But 25 is usually where it peaks, and for men, they can just keep on getting more attractive for like a long time. They can have gray hair and be like totally hot. And why is that? It's biological. It is not cultural. This is a biological thing. This is the biology that says for women, if you want money, if you want establishment and reputation, then having an older man is actually great because they have more money, they're more established, they have better reputation. Like done. So yeah, women find men women can find men more attractive as they get older because it goes along with their sexual fitness. For women, our sexual fitness is really tied to fertility, and your fertility also kind of peaks in your mid 20s, you know? So this is why even like older men will still be attracted to women that are much younger. Like women I read an article about this the other day. Women in dating websites, they're interested in dating like maybe like 3 to 10 years older than them, or like 2 to 10 years older than them. When they get older, it's a bigger number older that they're willing to go. But for men, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're 80, doesn't matter if they're 60, 40, 20. They all want to date a 20-year-old. And you can say, ew, sick old men. Maybe, but actually it's biology. Their like sexual attractiveness is linked to fertility. And a man in his 60s is still fertile, but a woman in her 60s is not. Okay, so this is where this disconnect is kind of happening. Okay, let me read this comment and see if I want to talk about it. Oh, this is such a long comment. Um, um, I'll come back to that when my brain is less, um, less whatever. Okay. But okay, no, but here's the comment. Um, so talking about getting older and body changing, and so this comment is I have been grieving for my sexual fitness. It's a really weird spot. The funny thing is that my husband is not the fittest, and I can finally see what you're saying about his options for sexual fitness because of everything else he has going on. So this is what's really funny is that people don't have an accurate idea of their own sexual fitness in general. And so so I was thinking of this like funny example, but one of my friends went on a blind date. They sent me a picture. This person is overweight. Their date was exactly the same amount of overweight. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how did your date go? Like this is awesome. Like I'm so excited that you went on this date." My friend is like, "The date was pretty good, but I can't go out with that person again because they're too fat." And I was like, "Oh, what?" Like, oh my gosh. So people have like not really a clear, like, here's the thing, even if you are not fit, even if you are a 3, you still want to date at least a 6. Everybody wants to be with someone who is rated higher than them, basically. This concept is called hypergamy, okay? And hyper meaning it goes up, gamey meaning like marriage, like polygamy is having to do that, or monogamy, right? So hypergamy means that everybody's trying to always move up with their relationships. And so for a woman to marry up, she wants someone with more money, more established, more reputation, more social skills, right? Somebody who's going to be admired and respected and have enough economic resources to support her, and having enough even like physical resources to protect her. And again, for men, it's kind of more mix and match. You can marry a string bean who's got a great sense of humor, and that can still be like a high number. I say string bean, I mean like not a muscular guy or whatever. Or you could be a muscular guy who has like no social skills, and that can still be pretty fit for some people. And women are a lot more different as far as what they will find attractive, right? Women have a lot more fluidity as far as like what they're turned on by. But for men, it's pretty much like, oh, boob waist hip ratio, like, oh, that's hot. And they don't choose that. Like, it is biological. They don't wake up and be like, gee, I'm really going to be attracted to people that are out of my league and I'm not married to anyway. Like, they don't think that. It's just biology. And so this is one thing that I really kind of feel bad for men that women don't recognize that more, because like, geez, it's not a reality that I like as a woman, um, but it is a reality, and so I will recognize this. And so anyway, we so this is the lobster brain. The lobster brain is the thing that's always rating everybody else according to their fitness. And so so there's a couple of things. Geez, I could talk about this for hours and hours, but I won't. I'm not going to do that to you. But I will talk about it for a few more minutes. First, I'll talk about opting out. How do we opt out of the fitness system? The reality is nobody gets to opt out all the way, because we still live in society, and society is still biological. So as long as you are a human being that is alive, you're going to be dealing with it. But um, but you can opt out to a large extent based on your own soul, because as soon as you become aware of these things, that awareness can help you to break out of it, because otherwise you're going to be operating on all of these subconscious and unconscious assumptions and that unconscious rating system. As soon as you're aware that this is what's going on, it kind of can open your eyes a bit and can really help, especially in like the dating scene, where if you're aware that of like this hypergamous nature, and how everyone's lobster brain is thinking, their unconscious natural man part of them that's like rating everybody based on these factors. If you can be aware of it, then you can start being more realistic, and you can start making some changes that are going to help. And so for example, my friend that broke up with this other person based on their weight when that person was also overweight, like that is a classic error of misunderstanding how this works. Like, sorry, if you are not very attractive, physically speaking, yes, your options are going to be more limited. And I'm sorry. Like, I really am sorry. I cried about this for months because I felt like it was so unfair. And it isn't fair, but it is reality. And we get to deal with reality, because if we don't, we get hurt. That is the thing. You deal with reality or you get hurt. Oh, baby. Here you go. I've got a roller, but she's not very good at it. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Come here. Come here, roller. Come say hi to everyone. So, let's see what these are saying. Are some women just as shallow in their view of men? Yes, they are, absolutely, but not all of them are. That's the thing. Women, what women find sexually attractive is can be really different woman to woman. But for men, the there really is a real biological focus on like body size, really, and like body shape. That's really big. Facial symmetry, having beautiful features, having beautiful hair, that is a biological thing. And we cannot hate men for that, and we cannot be bitter at them for that. They didn't choose that, okay? That's just how it is. If we fight reality, we get hurt, okay? We have to accept the reality and work with what we got, because no matter where you're at in your life, you can use your knowledge of the system to your advantage, okay? You can do things like grow out your hair. You can do things like put on makeup and like wear clothes that are flattering no matter what size you are. I guarantee that if you wear the right kinds of clothes, you're going to look more, put together and just more attractive in general. And that's what we're going for, right? And this is not just about who you date. This is about how everyone in the world will treat you. This is about how everyone in the world will see you. This is how everyone is judging each other. We are all judging each other based on what we look like, at least to start. And, after people get to know each other, then they start, making allowances and stuff like that. But this is how first impressions work. And even after the first impressions are dead, this is still how your group of friends will sort itself out. The person who is the highest rank will typically make the rules, unless you opt out. And how do we opt out? We opt out by, I said in my class before, basically by stepping into like Christian principles where we're not going to envy, we're not going to covet, we stop judging other people, and we start just loving and accepting everybody as they are, equally. I mean, like, again, the relationships aside, like, this isn't dating advice. This is like interacting with human beings advice. We love everybody equally because they're human beings, and it doesn't matter what they look like. Once we start treating other people the same, no matter what they look like this is how to start opting out of the system. When you love yourself, no matter what you look like, you opt out of the system. You're still going to be dealing with other people's opinions of you based on these factors, but when you love yourself no matter what, you're not a victim of it anymore, okay? You don't have to feel victimized by it, and once you understand it, I feel like everything makes a lot more sense, and you can start using it. Like, you use that knowledge to your advantage, whatever that means for you. If that means changing how you dress, or like what kind of makeup you wear, or how you do your hair, so that you are working with the system instead of against it, or if it's just being more aware of why people are acting the way that they are, so that you can come to them with more compassion and shift the dynamics that way. No matter how you're going to use this information, it's good to have the information, in my opinion, but it can be traumatic. It was so traumatic for me, so hopefully you're not all traumatized, and I hope you don't go cry for 6 months like I did. But if you do, I'm sorry. If you do, I probably have a session for that, so we can do that. Here's a comment. So interesting. I got really mad as a small child when I realized I was treated different because I was pretty and smart. By teachers, by other kids. I purposely made friends with and protected the kids that weren't treated like that. The whole thing definitely influenced me, and I made decisions on purpose related to marriage as well. Yes. And I just want to say that people who are at the top of the scale, like the tens, they have it hard too. Like, this system isn't fair to them either. And I had this conversation with someone the other day that I can't remember who they are, sorry, but this person, what I remember about it is that this person's like physically very beautiful. Hey, oh no. And I can't remember what we were talking about, but I did bravely say, it took some bravery for me to say, like, hey, it was related, by the way, but I was just like, hey, on top of all these other things you're talking about, I bet it's really hard to be so beautiful because you are so beautiful, and I bet people treat you differently because of that, and I bet sometimes they're really mean because of that. And this person was just like, oh my gosh, it's so true. Like, being beautiful is hard. Being a 10 is really hard because you become unrelatable. And people can be really mean about it because everyone else sees, like, we all know that the pretty smart people get treated different. They just do. And it's not fair, right? And so other people are sitting there saying, well, it's not fair that, the teacher's nicer to you just because you're pretty, just because you're smart. And they get resentful, and it causes all these different dynamics, right? Um, but the thing is, most people don't feel bad for the tens because they're like, they want to be at the 10, right? They want to have those problems, but they're still problems. Okay, no matter where you are on the scale, everybody still has problems, and we all still deserve each other's compassion and respect, and we all still deserve to have somebody in our lives that can see beyond that outer shell, and who can say, if you're a 1 or if you're a 10, I still want to be your friend. I don't care what you look like, which is a big deal because the lobster brain cares about what everyone looks like, okay? And it's always thinking about that, and that's like all it thinks about. Um, so in yesterday's class, I talked about how this plays into weight loss sabotage, okay? Because when it comes to weight loss, maybe some of you have had this experience where you were overweight, you lose a lot of weight, people start treating you differently in a lot of ways, you started getting attention from men at the grocery store, totally happens. Or, you know, people, like even women are nicer to you, but the people that used to be in your life start to get jealous and like they'll like sabotage you, and they'll say things like, well, maybe you should just have like 10 chocolate cakes today because you're looking too skinny to me. And you're not too skinny. Maybe you're not even at a healthy weight, but you're just moving in that trajectory, and the people in your life start freaking out. Why are they freaking out? It's because when everybody has this structure in their lobster brain that is not conscious. They don't think about this consciously. That's the thing. You can't hold this against people. They're not choosing it, okay? But their lobster brain has already decided where they are in the hierarchy and where you are in the hierarchy. And as you start increasing your sexual fitness by losing the weight, what's happening is you're moving up the ladder. Maybe you were 3 and then you dropped 50 pounds. Now you're 6. Oh my gosh, you dropped another 10. You're a 7. Maybe a 7.5. Oh my gosh, she's becoming an 8. And all this whole time, your best friend was also a 3. And now she's lost her mind because all of a sudden her whole hierarchy, the social hierarchy, has been overthrown. She used to be in charge of what you guys did. Now it's you. Now you are the one who is at the top of the scale in your friend group. If you guys go out in public together and guys go and look at your group, all of a sudden your best friend is not the hottie. It's you, okay? Even if you were both like 3s and now you're a 5 and she's a 3, you just threw off the whole social dynamic. And you have become an unsafe person for this friend, okay? This is what's happening. When other people are sabotaging your weight loss, this is what is happening. It is throwing their lobster brain for an absolute loop. Their lobster brain is going crazy, and they cannot tell you this verbally. They don't understand it. They don't know what is going on. They just know they're upset and they don't know why, because it's all unconscious. This is beyond this biological. Their biological natural man is like going haywire because their social structure is getting thrown for a loop because of the changes that you are making. This is even true for emotional wellness as well. Like, I'm sure many of us have experienced this too, where we go on this emotional healing journey. We're letting go of these past traumas. We're letting go of this and that. I said for women, it's mostly what you look like, and that's true. But attitude and mental stability is also really good. A girl can look like a 10, but if she's completely insane, we all know she's not really a 10, right? Yes, she looks like a 10, but mental instability definitely impacts that, right? But as we increase our emotional stability and have a better positive attitude and all this kind of thing, um, as we do that, that can shake up the structure as well. Partially because when you're emotionally healthy, that is a factor that can help you climb the ladder no matter what gender you are. But second, because when you are emotionally healthy and you start opting out of this structure, whether or not you realize it, like guess what? People who just love each other equally, like there's a lot of you watching this that have opted out of this structure, right? And when you opt out of that structure, that still throws them for a loop because you're starting to act differently. You start acting like the structure doesn't matter. And when you start acting like that, because you're in a healed space, like the more healed you are, the less this structure matters. But for unhealed people, when they see people that they were previously close to and they were used to the dysfunction, and now this person is separate and they're like opting out of the dysfunctional natural man structure here, geez, everyone's brain just like it goes crazy. Oh, yeah. This is where the crazy hot scale comes in. Yes, how crazy and how hot. Yes. Let's see. I relate to this. I've been judged as and seen as a threat to women when I'm absolutely no threat to anyone. I have had women be extremely rude to me because I somehow deserved it. Yeah, a lot of times, like very, very beautiful people can be like judged, and other women can just be so vicious to them because they view it as like competition basically. Because also let's consider this, your scale does matter based on who is around you, okay? Because guess what, the most attractive person you know in real life, if they go to a Hollywood party, they're a 5, they're a 4, you know, like the you can be a 10 in podunk middle of nowhereville but be a 4 in Hollywood, right? And so where you are and like your social scene that you spend most of your time in, that is really going to impact how you interact on this social hierarchy basically. I've heard statistics that taller men make more money because they climb the work ladder faster. Even the men seem to apply this within the men. I've known and resented all of this for a long time. Yes, exactly. And here's the thing, men do it too. Men do it too. And you can see in male structures, and Jordan Peterson talks a lot about male social dominance. And there's a video about male social dominance. And if you just search for it, you can search like Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, social dominance or something like that. It'll come up. But men do this. And whoever is the alpha male or whatever, all of the other men will kind of like copy, and they'll be, maybe some will be resentful, some will be supportive, and but with men they have their social structure, with women they have their social structure, but everybody is aware of these social structures all the time, whether or not they realize it. Oh, geez, I had one more thing I wanted to say about it. He says, oh my goodness, I have so much to say on this. Yes, there's like so much to be said about it. It's crazy. Somebody says, I recently rewatched The Duff. I have no idea what that means. Um, so I don't know, but she says, so true. So yeah. Um, but okay, this is the thing that I wanted to talk about with this, is that it's easy to be really resentful about these biological realities, and I was there. And actually, I'll give it to you on the time frame. What happened was I've always been like very into politics, and one of the political blogs that I read was linked, like I went from my politics blog to a link to a link, and I landed on this like one blog that talked all about these issues basically, and I read it and I was disgusted because I hated what they were saying, and I was extra disgusted because I felt like, oh my gosh, this is true. Like, this makes my whole life make sense. This makes everything make sense. And so I started reading about it, and I became obsessed. And this was all the same time that my brother was dying. And on his deathbed, on his literal deathbed, the day that he died, I was reading articles about this, about these issues. And this was around the time I left reading all of these issues with feeling very bitter and resentful, and I was so upset because I felt like, okay, this makes sense. Like this, all of a sudden, it makes sense where for women, like you can be accomplished and hilarious and have all these skills and talents, and still no one will date you if you're not pretty, if you're not thin or whatever. And I had been that person, I was like overweight and had tons of acne, and I didn't know my hair was curly, so my hair was like puffy and like yield sign shape. And I had glasses and braces, and like, guess what? Guess how many dates I went in high school? 0. Nobody wanted to come in 10 feet of me that way, you know? And so I looked back on my life and I just thought, oh my gosh, like my life makes sense. And it's such a bummer because if I was a guy, all of my accomplishments and talents and skills and my positive attitude would be really like I would be a hot commodity if I was a guy. But I'm a girl and I'm overweight. And so, like, this is as good as it gets. Like, this is as good as it gets for me socially. This is as good as it gets for me. And I was really bitter about that. And I thought, I just wish that I was a guy. I just wish that. If I was a guy, it would be more fair. Guys have it the best. I wish I was a guy. So this is while my brother was dying. My brother died, and I was still like on this kick, you know. I'm like throwing away his like medical equipment, and still while I'm like reading these blogs on my computer, and feeling all these feelings. And this is, I was talking to God about it, and God called me to repentance, and He said, "You have to get over it." Like He said, "You're not a man though. You're a woman, and so you need to be okay with that, and you need to accept it, and you need to." And you need to figure out how to work with it because you can't fight biology, and this is your biology. Like, we cannot fight biology. You have to work with your biology. You have to. And God whacked me over the head with that. And that's when I went into this deep depression, and I cried every single day for hours every day for 6 months. Well, from August until December, right? And I was just crying, and my husband would be like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'd be like, "I'm a girl." I'd be like, "I'm female. It sucks. It's the worst." and he was like, "Okay." And he's like running away and can you blame him? Because I was like coming off like a crazy person. But on December 31st of that year, that is when, for my New Year's Eve resolution, so this all led me onto this study of men versus women and like the biology of men versus women, which I found very disturbing, because we all just want to believe that we're all just super equal in every way. Like, I wanted to believe that, and then I'm looking at these, differences in brain scans and seeing, oh, but actually, no, we're not all the same in every way. And like, oh no, like I can't deny that I have a whole different structure and way of thinking than men, even if I thought I was really logical. Like, my degree is in soil chemistry. Like, I thought I was competing in like the masculine realm, but I'm not. And that was really hard for me. And so on December 31st at 11:30 p.m. for my New Year's Eve resolution, I said, "Okay, God, I'm going to stop fighting you. I'm going to stop being bitter about this. I'm not going to be bitter about this anymore." And one of my big conflicts was logic versus intuition, because intuition is the feminine realm, and I always felt like logic is where it's at, And I said, "Okay, God, I'm going to be okay with being a girl, even though I'm still a little bit bitter that you made me a girl. I don't think it's fair, but okay. It is my biology, and you can't fight against biology and win. So fine, I will accept it. And the way that I'm going to accept it is by prioritizing intuition over logic." And so that night I made a promise to God that I was going to embrace my femininity by listening to whatever came into my head and treating that as true. And I said, "God, anything that comes into my mind, I'm assuming it's from you, and the less it makes sense, the more I'm going to believe it. So you can never tell me anything wrong. You have to only tell me the truth." And I didn't know that that's what I was doing, but I think I made a covenant that night. And the next morning at 4 a.m, I was woken up with a vision of somebody's energetic body and how to heal it. And that was the day that I became a healer, was when I acknowledged these truths and decided to stop fighting them, to accept the reality, and to not just accept it, but throw myself into it. When I threw myself into accepting these things, that is when my third eye opened, and I developed like surprise healing skills that I did not know were possible. It was very alarming. It was disturbing and very terrifying. And now, many years later, here we are. But in the moment, it was very scary. Oh, my computer is about to die. Okay, you get a little tour of my house, apparently. While I go plug it in. Anyway, I know that as we accept these things and start to work with them instead of against them, um, we can access a lot more spiritual gifts, okay? Um, and so when it comes to where you are in this hierarchy, the one thing that I want to mention is, well, first off, like I just said, accepting the reality. If you can just fast forward to accepting it instead of crying for 6 months first, that will be very helpful to you, and it will help you jumpstart your healing skills and your third eye, especially if you're female. Intuition is, I mean, like you've heard of women's intuition, it's real. Mother's intuition, it is a feminine power. Men also have access to it, but like not on the same like level, or like it's different, right? It's different. But feminine intuition, nothing can replace that. And if you want to heal yourself, like coming to terms with these realities is going to be really important. But if you're upset about where you are on this scale, which basically everyone probably has really good reasons to be upset about where they're at, even if you're 10, if you're 1, doesn't matter. Everyone has reasons to not be happy about it. But when that's the case, the thing that I want you to think about is, why did you pick that? Okay? And so if you've read my book, Deep Past Resolution, or taken the class, which is totally different from the book, it has 100% different material. So if you've read the book, you do not know anything that's in the class. So they have the same name, but they're completely separate, and you should take the class. But the concept of that is that before we were born, our spirits kind of had an option on what our mortal life would kind of look like. And so as you're sitting there feeling bitter and resentful, we can step out of that and say, no, like my own spirit, my own body, why did I want to come here like this? Like, why did I want to look like this? Why did I want to have these trials? Why did I want that? And you can write that down, and you kind of go into a little meditative space, just like go to a quiet space and ask yourself these questions and write down whatever comes into your mind, whatever it is, without judgment. And you're going to get answers that might surprise you about why you are where you're at. And as you discover why you opted into the level that you're at, then you can start healing it, okay? And this can help you in a lot of ways with your physical health, with your emotional health, and basically like everything in your life can improve as you dig into these issues and ask, before I was born, why did I think it was a good idea to be in this body? Why? And what might come up might surprise you. You might be dealing with, anything. You could really be dealing with anything. So I don't even want to like poison the well by leading some questions, but you're grown-ups, you can figure it out. You can ask yourself and see what comes up. But I know for me, one of the things that I found was like this deep desire to be relatable. Like, guess what? 10s are not really relatable, but a 6 can be relatable, And so, see what you think. Like, go ask your body what it has to say about this and write it down and see what you can do to heal that. Because a lot of us, I think all of us to some extent, deal with these cycles of self-sabotage and self-punishment. Why are we self-punishing with our bodies? And that can be, you can self-punish by looking like a 10. That is definitely a way you can self-punish. You can self-punish by making yourself so attractive that people don't stop bugging you about it. Like that people don't stop harassing you, and you can self-punish by making yourself a 1, and you can do all sorts of things to mess with your social status because of all sorts of weird reasons. And so as you tune into your own spirit and start asking these questions and writing down the answers that you get, you're going to be led to these important things to work on that will bless you and your family and everyone that you interact with as you start working through it. Because you working through anything is going to shift up the entire social structure that you're in. And that will always be true, because as you heal, you're starting to opt out of that social structure. And just like I said earlier, it's going to shift everything. And, everybody is going to be affected by that. So, okay, now I think I'm done for today. Let's go through really quick and see some comments. Okay. That is totally accurate. I was a 10 in Kansas, but in Florida, where everyone cares about bikini bodies, I'm a 4. Yeah, so you can be a 10 in Kansas, but a 4 in Florida. So true. DUF stands for Designated Ugly Fat Friend. There's a whole movie about it. Oh, interesting. I have not seen that, but that's like totally a thing. Everybody wants to have somebody. I mean, everybody when you're in the lobster brain mindset, the lobster brain wants to have a designated ugly fat friend. And if that person is you, and you start shifting out of that, then that can throw everybody's mind for a loop. And if you are that person, there's probably going to be a lot of energy thrown on you to keep you there because they don't want you to change and move out of that space because that's how their social structure is structured, right? Okay, you're blowing my mind. I have always known I'm not a 10 instinctively, but not consciously. Instead, I cultivated intelligence and humor and skill, but it didn't matter. I see that now that you are saying this. I think I was bitter that as a woman, these things didn't matter. Exactly. I have been so bitter about it. But again, we can't fight reality. We have to work with it. We have to feel those feelings of bitterness, resentfulness, anger, hatred. We have to work through them and basically get over it because it's still real and we still have to live with it. So we have to learn to accept it even though it super sucks and learn how to work with it. And choose to use our agency to do things like, take care of our bodies. Like, what better message to take care of your freaking body, right? We come here on this earth to have a body experience, and then we get bitter when we don't take care of our bodies and other people judge us for it, right? But let's take care of our bodies, and that can make a big difference. I've had this happen at church before. The energy completely changed, and I could tell the people were watching and thinking me. And women even came up to me later and were like, "You seem so different." No, you just saw me differently. One Sunday to another, so weird. I felt more comfortable just falling back in line. Yeah, this one time, so like for most of my life, I was like moderately overweight. And then at one point, I lost a lot of weight. And I did it pretty quick. I mean, in a couple of months, I lost like 50 pounds or 60 pounds or something like that. And I went from being, overweight to like pretty fit or like, pretty fit. I don't know. Not like I didn't have a six pack, but I was skinny. I was size 2, size 2. And so, and I had somebody at church say, "You're so lucky. You have the skinny genes." That's what she said to me. I was like, we grew up together. I've been overweight for 25 years. What's wrong with you? I don't have the skinny genes. I'm just taking care of myself now. And what had happened, I mean, I had changed my diet and changed how I exercised, and and a lot of that is also emotional because you have to be in an emotional space where you can sustain that. Guess what? Nobody loses weight by continuing the current diet that they're at or like continuing their current exercise level. Like, that's not how it works. You change your emotions so that you can sustain a lifestyle where you eat the healthy foods in moderate amounts and you are taking care of your body with physical exercise. That's why you do the emotional work. It's not so that you can continue to be a couch potato. It's so that you can feel emotionally in a space where you can support the lifestyle of taking care of yourself. But people will still be judgy and they will completely forget everything of your whole past and like assume that it's just because like you just woke up one day super good looking or whatever, even though it actually really does take a lifestyle shift, I know in my life I have kept weight on to not be so attractive to men. I get too much attention. This is all subconscious. I've tried to change this my whole life because I want to be at a healthy weight. Yeah, hopefully this is helpful to, I don't know, shake up your subconscious mind a little bit, shake up your conscious mind a little bit. Been reading Eckhart Tolle again, and he talks about all the collective women's pain body. Okay, say that again. About the collective women's pain body, and that all women tap into the pain of not being equal during menses. Yeah, I believe that's true. I think all women here can agree that when we're menstruating, all we can think of is how much it sucks and how much we wish we were men. Yes, true or false? Who loves menstruating? I don't know. I don't know anyone like that. But anyway, okay. Several years back, 60 Minutes did an undercover investigation on this concept. They sent really beautiful women dressed in sexy clothes and no experience into a job interview. Then they sent plain-looking women professionally dressed with an education and perfect qualifications. Go up. Sorry, I lost my comment. For the same job, almost every time the sexy, unqualified woman got the job over the plain, educated, qualified woman. 100%. That is how it is. That literally is how it is. And it sucks. And it's not fair. And we got to get over it. And that is how we are going to come to terms with reality and stop fighting reality. We're going to work with reality, and reality will work with us and it'll be good. Oh, thanks for the TED Talk. Thanks. Yeah, this would not be a TED Talk for so many reasons, especially length, but thank you. I hope you save and make this live stream available. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I think I'll put it on YouTube, which will be very brave of me because I feel like it's like very controversial, but okay, designated fat friend. That sounds horrible. I'm not aware of having one of those. See, that's the thing. This is not conscious. That's the thing. It is not even conscious because here's the thing. Most people you know are nice people, right? I mean, like, most people I know are nice people. Like, nobody wakes up and they're like, gee, I hope my overweight friend stays overweight forever so that I have a higher status. No one's thinking that. Like, nobody's thinking that. But if you have been overweight and you've lost the weight really fast, you know for yourself how doing that shifts the paradigm for everybody, and it throws everybody off. Even your nice friends will be off, like, most of the time. I think that's why I've always focused on my emotional health first instead of listening to people when they told me you should exercise more, you should eat differently, then you will be better. I knew in my core that I needed to heal inside so that any outward changes could be sustainable. Yeah, that's so true. We do have to have, I mean, the emotional health, it doesn't need to come first. Like, you can have weight loss and stuff without healing your emotions first, and losing the weight will help you heal emotionally as well, because a lot of your toxic, like, mental issues are stuck in your fat. And when you get rid of it, and that's why if you've lost a lot of weight before, you know, you go through these emotional waves, and it's crazy. Like, please, maybe someone can verify with this. If you want to share your experience, it's crazy. You lose the weight and you process these old emotions, right? But yeah, you need to heal. Like, so losing the weight proactively can help you heal your emotions, but also to make it sustainable. Like, if you're going to starve yourself to be skinny, like, that's horrible. Like, you have to start, like, you shouldn't do that. We come at our body health from a space of self-love and self-acceptance, and not from a space of self-torture. And that's what we talked about a lot yesterday in the session was, exercise is great, but not if it's torture. If you're actively torturing yourself as a punishment for what you look like, you lose 10 points. No. We do not come at health from a space of torturing because we hate what we look like. We come at our health from a space of self-love and acceptance, and as a way to celebrate our relationship with our incredible body that we have been entrusted with on this planet. Seems like the lobster brain and natural man are pretty connected. They are the same thing. Yes, they're the same thing. Lobster brain, natural man, same thing. I love how we can opt out of it. We can accept that the natural man is a part of us, and we can choose to live differently. There are many beliefs that can be processed around this. Thank you for bringing it up. Thank you. I love that. Yes, exactly. The natural man and the lobster brain, the same thing. We escape the bounds of biology when we accept our biology, stop fighting it, work with it, and see how it's impacting others and see through it for them. This is like the most powerful healers that you know are going to be the people that can see through the lobster brain, like, facade, who can see through what you look like and see your soul and love you no matter what. Like, that is what is healing. And I say the best healers, I mean your mom, I mean, like, your best friends, like the people that see within. These are the best healers. The people that are opting out of this cycle, they're healing themselves, they're healing everybody around them. I've been reading a book on this topic called More Than a Body, and it is very truthful. Thank you. I've never heard of that book, More Than a Body. Totally looking it up on Amazon later. I gotta go soon because this little muffin's fallen asleep. I've experienced this on both ends. When I was struggling the most and wanted to disappear, I stopped taking care of my appearance. In that time period, I had fewer friends. People did not come to me for help with things. I did not lead. I didn't draw any attention. When I started to heal and felt safe to be seen again, actually, I got called out of hiding, but that's another story. Interesting. I started drawing attention again. People come to me for help. I'm nearly always the leader in the group of women, and I know that I am beautiful, confident, and sexy. I don't know if I actually want to rank where I am now, but I've definitely been on the higher and lower end. Yes, it's so true. So much of rank comes down to self-care, especially for women. If we are taking good care of ourselves, like, here's the thing, you can be overweight and still be a higher rank Like you can rank up based on wearing good clothes that fit your body and make you look good, even if you don't fit the like supermodel mold, right? Because the real thing, besides like having the dimensions that are like fit, right? Like reproductively fit. The other aspect is self-care, because that is like one of the sexiest things that a woman can engage in is self-care. Why? It comes back to reproductive fitness. Someone who's good at self-care is going to be really good at baby care, okay? You want somebody that cares about bodies, because that's the point. You're going to bring new bodies in and someone's got to take care of them. So that is why self-care is really sexy on a woman. And this is why looking like you engage in self-care is attractive. That's why it ranks you up. That's why the same person can be a 4 wearing pizza clothes, like the, slurpy blah clothes, and then they dress up and all of a sudden they're a 7, right? The same person can be higher or lower based on how they're taking care of themselves, especially for women, because self-care is sexy. I'll say it again, guys. Self-care is sexy. Take care of yourself. Yeah, do it. Go take care of yourself. It's so good. Please put this on YouTube. I will do it. If haters come out to hate me, I need your defense, guys. Just kidding. I don't care. They can deal with it, because this is reality. You fight against reality, you're going to lose. I'm losing weight right now. I'm down 45 pounds, and every few weeks I have a new emotional something I have to process, or I hit a plateau. Exactly. And even now, so I'm, again, 30 pounds over with this little nugget, and it's okay. I've been losing 5 pounds a month, and so like by Christmas or by February I should be back to like my normal size or whatever, but it's like annoying in the meantime, but slow and steady wins the race, so it's fine. My real annoyance is I have no clothes that fit, and I don't want to buy new ones that will only wear them for 2 months or something. But it's been interesting, because as I've been like, okay, no, I'm going to like really like buckle down and just get this gone or whatever. Like I'm gonna stop eating, so much chocolate or something. I don't actually like chocolate, but that I've found that I'll get like sudden cravings for food, and when I'm thinking about them, I think, oh, why am I wanting this? Like just yesterday, or 2 days ago, I've had this craving for something terrible that's like, it's not even food, like processed junk. And I was like, why do I want this processed junk? And I thought, it's because I'm sick of taking care of everybody else and nobody takes care of me, and I don't want to cook food for me. Like, I don't want to be one more person I have to take care of. So I'm going to eat the freaking candy bar because I didn't have to cook it. Like, I don't want to cook something healthy. I just don't want to have to take care of myself because I take care of everyone else and it's not fair. And so anyways, a little window into my own journey right now. I'm also working through that as I'm like releasing my postpartum fluff. But you just work through it, because every day is a new day and our bodies are going to fluctuate as we go through our lives, right? And especially with women's fertility cycles, it is a cycle, and we gain the weight and we have to lose it. Like 5 kids in, had to play this game so many times now. But you still play it, you still play the game. Is there a way to do plastic surgery in a healthy way, like a way of restoration, just like we do with temples? Wow. I don't know. I will think about that. But one thing I feel to mention is that breast implants are toxic, and tons of my clients have breast implant illness, tons of them. Please do not poison yourself with breast implants. If you have a lot of autoimmune conditions and breast implants, I will drop the truth bomb that, it's probably because you got breast implants. They cause autoimmune disorders, so please get them out. They are poison. I don't know about all plastic surgery, but implants can kill you. Literally, I really mean it. They can lead to your death. So for me, I will recommend against breast implants. Uh-oh, this little fluff. Oh, she might be out. Are you done, baby? This is too stimulating for you. The weight pretty much melted off after I made the shifts to care for myself. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think my friend I think you have 8 kids. Is that true? So she's legit. She knows. Got to take care of yourself. That's how the weight shifts off. The interesting thing is the natural man is totally a temporal phase. Our divine natures are all 10. I love that. When we shift past the temporal and align with our divine nature, we physically become the 10 we have always been. I love that. Thank you so much. Yes, I do believe that our divine natures pretty much are all 10s. And so we've got to heal our trauma that is causing us to not be our natural 10 self. You know, if you have a lot of problems that are affecting like your status with the lobster brain, you've probably got some stuff to heal. And as you heal it, it's going to be easier and easier for you to get back into alignment with your natural 10. Yeah. In our marriages, are we trying to opt out or up our sexual fitness? Like, should I try to get that ratio because it's not my husband's fault that he is biologically attracted to that? In my opinion, I think that you should absolutely focus on your sexual fitness if you're married, because neither of you can control it, okay? You can't control that your husband is attracted to hotties, so you might as well be a hottie. And you can't control that you're attracted to men that make more money. And you can't control that you're attracted to men that are more socially graceful and are physically fit either. And so I think men should be, you know, hitting the gym and figuring out how to make more money and becoming more socially graceful as well. Like, guess what? On both ends, since it is out of our control biologically, like, here's the thing, every woman's marriage is going to get better if her husband gets hotter and he gets kinder and more thoughtful and more socially graceful. And if he is making more money, like, the end, that will solve so many marriage problems. And on the other way, you're like, as the wife, your husband is going to be a lot happier if you start taking care of your body better, and your attitude. Because for women, again, it's mostly body, but plus also you can't be a crazy wacko. Like, you also have to be emotionally like stable. So that's also a really good way to invest in your own fitness. So on both ends, if people are both making strides towards these ideals, it's going to help their marriage a lot. Like, it just will. It's going to make marriage so much better. So then it gets hard when you have one person that's like, they've taken the red pill or whatever, and they've woken up to all of this stuff, and they're starting to make these changes, and then their spouse doesn't make these changes. And then you feel like, oh, I'm doing all this work, but my spouse doesn't care. Guess what? You have to get over it, because the reality is that most people don't know about their lobster brain, and you can't force anybody to change. You can change yourself. But just changing yourself to be more in alignment these ways, this is going to bless every aspect of your life. It's going to bless your marriage. It's going to bless everything in your life and give you a lot more, I kind of hate to use this word, but it's going to give you a lot more control. Like, things aren't going to be as confusing and erratic for you because you're going to know what's going on. It's not about controlling your marriage or the people around you, when you can control yourself and you understand what's going on, you're not at the mercy of other people's lobster brain anymore. And the thing is, everyone's marriage is at the mercy of this. So, like, a big conflict in marriage a lot of times is sex, where men want more of it than women want, but men don't understand that, like, sorry, your wife probably doesn't want to sleep with you if you're like this smelly ogre who like is unemployed and like a mess. Like, you're probably going to have a much better sexual relationship in your marriage if you take care of yourself and like step into that masculine archetype. And for women, it's the same thing. Women want their men to like make more money and do all this stuff. If you step more into that feminine archetype, it's not fair, but you're going to see that a lot of times the men in your life are going to be more motivated to step up their game and start being better providers and all this kind of thing. So anyway, I would say, if you are single or if you're married, you should still focus on your sexual fitness 100%. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're single or you're married. Your fitness is always going to impact your life, and the higher your fitness, the better your life is going to be, pretty much. And of course, that's not always true. And this is one reason why we sabotage our fitness, because people have had experiences where they've increased their fitness and then been like assaulted or attacked or that kind of thing. I mean, literally, and so then they say, oh, like the comment earlier, if I just hold on to extra weight, I won't get attention, which is true. You put on the extra weight, it is an effective protection against that kind of attention. And so anyway, it's not always true, but if you bring yourself into alignment, it can be true that by increasing your fitness, you're going to have a better life all the way around. It's hard when in a marriage one cares about their fitness, but the spouse doesn't, or they aren't doing what it takes to be attracted to their spouse. When a spouse no longer cares, but the other does, it's a conflict. That's true. A really